Nation, the home of me, myself, and I. This is episode number 11 of this unique one-man show. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. A.C.E Podcast Nation. Of course, your home to many great shows and series featuring top guests, expert analysts, and more. So please do give us a follow on social media, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. And if you prefer your podcast in audio form, then of course we're available as part of the Sports Social Podcast Network these days, the UK's first dedicated sports podcast network. And you can find this show, the Andy Campbell shows, all the previous episodes of the various series we've done: mental health in sport, conspiracy theories, right, Rhodri gigs on football, the Danny Batten Fight show. They're all there. All there. Every single episode we've ever done is there, and everything which we will do will be there. So yeah, with this show, it's just me. I have got someone joining me in a little while, a familiar face for many of you regulars. He's going to join me for a little stint on a Monday for a little change. We're going to debate some different subjects and all that good stuff. There's loads to talk about, really. We've spent a lot of time on the show on Fridays with Rhodri lately, talking about managers and different things like that. So it's going to be interesting. I got a few other different things I want to talk about. I want to talk about Steven Gerrard in particular and his legacy. And I also want to talk about Gareth Bale and his legacy. So it's going to be a bit of that. Myself and Rhodri are recording a show in a studio on Wednesday afternoon. So I'm looking to you guys, the people, to give us some ideas for some subjects to discuss during that show. So, for instance, we're not looking for like the latest results, the latest stories, because clips, and also this show is not going to be out for a while. It might even be like a Christmas special for when, you know, we have a bit of time off over Christmas and stuff, so I can still put a show out for you guys. Not 100% sure on that, but there's definitely going to be clips in the meantime of that. So what I'm looking for you guys is for subjects. So one of the subjects that we're going to discuss is Alex Ferguson's legacy as a manager, why Manchester United have struggled so much since he left. Why haven't they been able to, you know, they've brought in what would be perceived as top managers. We're going to discuss why that hasn't quite worked out. But I'm looking to you guys to give me some subjects for us to discuss during that studio show. And we can have a look. But yes, so that's that. But just a little, we'll do a little Super 6 update first and foremost, just while we wait for any latecomers. But it was a low-scoring round this week for most of us. A well done to Sally Griffiths and Phil Melush, Will's dad, who had both had a great week. But our champion for this round, David Williams, on 12 points. From the celebrity players, we had Jeff Stelling and Andy Campbell, the best of the bunch. But no one got into double figures. And after scoring 10 points this week, Franco is back in the top spot for the overall season. The next round is 3 p.m. Saturday. So do not forget what's what. But let's have a look, see who's in the chat. Straight away, I see first comment, Leslie Coates. Welcome, my friend. Kate Childs, welcome, my friend. Hope your dad's well. Gavin, good to see you, mate. Haven't seen you for a while. GD Parry, Rob Boyle, Reese's mum. Like it. Donna Perry, welcome. Robert Boyle. Craig Sullivan, like it. So with the times, ever since the clocks went back on Facebook, it seems to be telling like a different time. So like on the Sunday shows, I'll put in 8 o'clock start and it says, I think 9 o'clock start. And I think Craig's just said there, the shows will always start the same time. Monday, 7:30, Friday, 7:30, Sunday, 8 o'clock, unless we state otherwise on social media and stuff like that. Keeping it real generally is on a Saturday at about 8 o'clock when it's out. And obviously when my story starts up soon, next week actually, is probably going to be a Wednesday at 8 o'clock at the moment, but we'll see. Craig says, controversial subject, but next year's fixture schedule with the changes because of the World Cup and such a short summer break. Yeah, I think that'll be a good one, actually, mate. That's a nice Nice, good idea. Look, Reese's mum says Manchester United players got older. They were there with no egos like they have now. Team players, not self-absorbed. I like it. Donna Perry says, I'm hopeless at Super 6. I get so cross that I'm rubbish. I think I'm 18 points ahead of Rhodri now. He's like just cutting it down bit by bit. It's going on. It's difficult. Reese David Evans says, quick message while everyone's online. It's Movember, and it's also about talking male suicides. So if anyone needs to chat, reach out. Don't forget to reach out to your friends and your family, male and female, does not matter. Couldn't say that better myself. Good show, Reese. And Reese did a run for November as well. So if you want to donate to that, please do. You'll find him on Facebook and stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna we might get the old championship call-in shows back on. I think maybe soon, a couple of weeks, and it might even become a regular thing. I'm not sure. It's Rhodri, Donna. Rhodri's popping on for a little bit before he does his podcast at 9:30. He's coming on to have a chat. I think he wants to talk about Gareth Bale, and Gareth Bale, a Welsh legend. But is he the greatest of all time is the question we're going to ask and we're going to discuss a bit later on. So I would be very interested to hear people's opinions on that. But the subject I'm going to start with is the wee bonny Scotland. Scotland obviously qualified. A great result the other day in the football, and I think I think, look, it's difficult. I would just love it if all the home nation teams could just get to the one tournament, so we can have that one tournament with everyone. Yeah, I agree with you there. Because Gavin says Aaron Ramsey is also a legend. I agree. And it's strange, isn't it? Because we're going to discuss, is Gareth Bale the greatest Welsh player of all time? But if you asked me if I had to lose one from the starting 11, I'd be more upset about losing Aaron Ramsey from the starting 11. And that's not necessarily just a recent thing, going back as far as Euro 2016, which obviously Gareth Bale was such a big part of. Like, Aaron Ramsey missing in the semi-final was massive. Leslie says Gareth Bale, don't rate him. And it's interesting, see, because I think people who aren't Spurs fans, who witnessed his form and his performances for Spurs, and then Welsh fans who've witnessed his performances for Wales, they haven't seen the real Gareth Bale, because he had that maybe 2 seasons at Madrid where he was world class, and then it's been riddled with injuries, distractions, arguments and stuff. Like, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves in a big way. But I also think, injuries have probably held him back. It's one of those things. Like, can you imagine? Like, I said this about Aaron Ramsey the other week. You imagine if Gareth Bale had stayed relatively injury-free for the whole of his career, like, say, a Ronaldo or someone like that. Like, I really believe he would be right up there with those guys. Like, that one season he had with Madrid was just incredible. When he literally won them the Champions League almost single-handedly. It was crazy. So yeah, Scotland. I think they qualified for the playoffs, haven't they? I believe. It's going to be tricky. Let's have a look who they're going to play. Are they seeded? So, look, it was a great result. 2-0, confident, nice, comfortable win over Moldova. That's what you want when you've got those big pressure games. Nice, comfortable 2-0. So let's have a look. There's 6 countries who have the best runners-up record from the group stage, which will be seeded for the first playoff match. The other 4 runners-up plus the 2 qualifiers from the Nations League will be unseeded. In turn, there's 12 teams split into 3 playoff paths consisting of 4 teams. So the seeded teams will get home ties for the semi-final, and then a random draw will see which teams host the final. In terms of the seeding, Scotland's results against Moldova mean nothing. Why? Because Scotland are one of the 5 qualifying groups with the 6 nations. The other 5 groups have 5 teams. Because of that, all results against the team from pot 6 are discounted. So Moldova were in Scotland's group, therefore wins at Hampden Park and Shinzeo mean little for seeding purposes. What does this mean for the Denmark game? Well, despite the teams having secured the 2 top spots, it is a big game for Scotland, because if Scotland win, they'll secure a place in the seeds and a home tie at a sellout Hampden Park. And I think that's massive for Scotland. Like Hampden Park, when it's full and full of the Scottish fans, that's one of those special grounds around Europe. And I just think that, I do think that Scotland need to try, if they can get a result against Denmark, which is a very, very tough game, by the way. But if they could just get a result and get that home tie at Hampden Park for the playoff semi-final, that's massive for them. And I believe that they would go through from that just because of the occasion and whatnot. In terms of the seedings and where it all kind of stands at the moment, we have Portugal at first seed, Russia, Switzerland, Sweden, Poland, Wales, Scotland, North Macedonia, Turkey, Finland. There's some tough games in there. Like Rob Boyle says there, I wouldn't want Scotland in the playoffs. I got to be honest, there's not many teams from that list that I would say, oh yeah, I want them. Traditionally, there's teams that you should think you should beat, but I think these days, most of those, like Finland, got some great players. Turkey, disappointing in the Euros, but they've got some players. Maybe North Macedonia, but I mean, I think even they have got a few players, scattered around Europe, playing in the top leagues. I just don't think there's any easy games there anymore. Outside of your Faroe Islands, your Belarus, your San Marinos, something like that. I don't. From a Welsh point of view, I absolutely would not want Scotland and Portugal are the 2 I would like to avoid. And my main, I don't necessarily think Portugal are as good as they have been in recent years, but you look at their side, it's unreal. Ronaldo is going to be, this is his last tournament. He is going to be so determined to get there that I just think it's going to take a big performance and team to stop him getting there. Then you add in people like Bruno Fernandes. That's a very tough ask for anyone, particularly when you're looking at nations the size of Wales and Scotland, who perhaps haven't got that depth. That's difficult. Who would you like? Out of those teams, who would you guys like to get in the playoffs from a Wales point of view? Who would you like to see Scotland get? I just want, Wales and Scotland. I'd like to avoid each other at all costs because I want them both to get there ultimately. It would be nice for Wales to get some revenge over Portugal, but I'm not looking to play them. Reese David Evans said, it's crazy to think we live in a time of Ronaldo and Messi. The future generations will never fully appreciate them. And it's funny you say that, mate, because I actually think that people don't appreciate them now. And we live in this age where it's kind of like almost cool to be negative and have a go at people and tell people this shit and all this stuff. They've changed the game in what is considered a good season. Like back in a day when Mark Hughes, for instance, was playing up front for United, or it was just like the 80s and 90s and that. 20 league goals was considered a blinding season. 30 goals overall. That was a great season for a striker. Ronaldo, Messi, that's a terrible season for them if they only get 30 goals. People are asking questions if they still got it. It's really fascinating. Leslie says England 1-0. He also says they're average. Don't rate them at all. All the clowns, barring a few. Any big fish is good night Vienna. So, Leslie, I'll ask you the question, mate. It looks like Gareth Bale's about to get another contract extension. Are you happy with that? Do you want him to get a new contract? It's a weird one because I felt like they should have won the Euros, and I think yes, they deserve credit for getting to the final. Blah 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 blah. But I thought a few players didn't turn up, and Harry Kane being one of them. And God, social media was painful over the weekend. People telling me that. And people saying how Harry Maguire proved a point by scoring that goal, and Harry Kane proved a point by scoring a hat-trick. Against Albania, who, let's be honest, they're not the giants of football. England, they have this every year, every qualifying campaign. They just have a team, a group of teams they can just sweep aside. They could literally, if they wanted to, they could play a different 11 every single game, a different squad every single game, every single camp, and still comfortably win because of their depth and the groups they get. It's just the way it is at the moment with the way the seeding and draws are done. I get that. But come on. We can't be Harry Kane, for instance. Harry Kane's just down tools for flipping 4 months. And Harry Maguire, since he come back from injury, has looked like a Parks footballer. So what? Suddenly they score some goals against a pub team and they're back. They're back. Not having that at all. Let's play 100 million for Harry Kane. He scored a hat-trick against Albania, but he hasn't turned up for work for the last 4 months. Piss off. Not having that at all. But if it kickstarts this season and he goes on and has a phenomenal season, and this is what kickstarts him, then of course, great stuff. But up until now, judging him on present form, hat-trick against Albania means nothing to me whatsoever. Not having it. Let's have a look what else we got. In the Ronaldo-Messi generation, Reece David Evans says, true. I grew up with Zidane, Figo, Ronaldinho, the OG Ronaldo, Maldini, Totti, and Carlos, Rob says. And the kind of early 2000s, late 90s, there were some unbelievable players. But I got to say, Rob, even those players you've named there, like your Zidanes, your Figos, Ronaldinho, unbelievable players, OG Ronaldo, Maldini, I consider to be the best defender of all time. Ronaldo and Messi up the level from those guys. Like, I don't consider Ronaldinho anywhere near the level of Messi and Ronaldo. Messi and Ronaldo not just changed what was considered good and a good season, etc., but they've done it season after season after season after season. Like, that's what makes them so good. It's not just the amount of goals, assists they get. It's not just the way they look after themselves, not just on the whole they conduct themselves. It's the amount of just consistency that's there alongside it. They just do it season after season. They don't do like, what Paul Pogba does. 1 good game, 4 bad games, or 4 average games, 1 great game, 4 average games. This game after game after game in their peak was just non-stop. Let's have a look what we got. Donna says Klinsmann and Mateus were my heroes. I had a West Germany football top. Yeah, I had the green West Germany football top. And funny enough, my mum gave me a photo album on my 40th, which kind of like just told the story of my life. And that was in one of the tops. I also in there was I had a Cardiff City top. I think it was about my 9th or 8th birthday. And I went to the Ryder Arms Charlie Chalk, and it's like a blue Cardiff City top with the very thin yellow pinstripe on it. I only wore it one day. I wore it to that party or the thing at the Ryder Arms in the Charlie Chalk factory, and I never saw it again after that day. Never been able to find it. Just disappeared. Devastating. devastating because I love that top, and seeing the photo was painful. Harry Kane scored again. Yeah, it is where it is. I just think, look, he's been a disgrace this season. And if that's £100 million striker, and I'm a football team, and no wonder Man City want to play without a striker. Simple as that. I'd be absolutely furious if I paid 100 million and the player can't even turn up for work and turn up and train and play hard and stuff like that. I'd be disgusted by it. But it is what it is. Old Harry, you scored again. But there we go. Welcome, my friend. Robbie Giggs joins us. How are you, buddy?
Might you?
Yes, mate. Yes, indeed. So just look at Harry Kane, mate, at the moment. Because I saw a lot of people over the weekend telling me how and saying how like Harry Kane and Harry Maguire have proved a point by scoring against Albania, and Harry Kane scored a hat-trick. And I was like, just telling the people then, look, Harry Maguire's been appalling since he's coming back from injury, and been looking like a Parks defender, and Harry Kane hasn't turned up for work for 4 months, but suddenly he scored a couple of goals against Albania, and people seem to think that that's good enough.
Yeah, it's not. It's clearly not. Albania, come on. San Marino have never, ever won a game.
Sorry, I made a mistake here. I said Harry Kane scored. Harry Maguire scored against San Marino, so he's definitely back now.
No, Harry Kane's obviously wanted to play in this game because he knows he can get an hatful. He's playing against
builders and
lounge
people. They got part-time jobs, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just it's good luck to him. You want to score, you want to get an hatful because, like I said, I've said it before. You want to get confidence going back. If you're having a bad time in your club, you want to get away from that and try and get some form. And obviously with Harry Maguire and Harry Kane, it's worked. So hopefully they come back and that form transforms into the league form because, United need it. Problem that Harry Maguire's got, he'd probably come back too early and he was, just wasn't fit enough. And it's shown. Harry Maguire is not the type of athlete that can come back from an injury because he's heavy set. He's, he doesn't look. He needs to get back to match fitness, and he obviously wasn't that, and he got exposed for it. Harry Kane is down tools. I don't care what anyone said. I've watched him play. He's been playing like a number 6, number 8 in midfield. He's a number 9. So, yeah, whoever tells me different, I'll just say you lie. Obviously, I've watched him play because the Harry Kane I've been watching the last 3 months is not the Harry Kane I've been watching for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah, and I think, look, it's no wonder Man City didn't want to pay the money if that's the player they were going to get. Like, I dare say if he'd got his move, maybe he'd have been a bit, he wouldn't have down tools and he would have looked a bit better. But
he wouldn't need the down tools because
is it harder for him now to kind of turn it, because he's played like that for 3-4 months, sulking about and that. Is it hard to then switch it on and suddenly, just click back into, because he was. At one point he was considered the best number 9 in the world.
Well, I'll go back to what I've just said. You go away to England, try and pick up some form, and try and bring it back to your club. And it's not easy, but because it's totally, you're not playing against Albania for one. You're playing against Premier League quality. You're not playing against San Marino. You're playing against Premier League quality. So it's a lot difficult. It's a lot more harder. So but he's got a really top-notch coach who will get the best out of him, and we'll be telling him, what are you doing dropping in the places where you've been dropping? I want you to stick in these areas. That's where you're going to do the most damage. And no doubt you'll see Spurs get better and Harry Kane will get better because they have got some good players, but they've got a very good coach now. So they'll demand the maximum amount of his players.
And do you know what the other thing is with Conte? One of the few similarities he's got with Mourinho is if Harry Kane doesn't put the effort in and doesn't do what is expected of him, Conte will drop him. Like, I think, whereas Nuno was probably a bit frightened to drop him because it was his first really big job, and I think he probably was a bit scared to drop the star player, isn't it?
Yeah, Conte's the character that doesn't care what, if he's going to do what's best for the team, if someone's not pulling the weight, then yeah, you can leave him out.
What do you say to this then? Lorna, Reese's mum, says Son is 100 times better than Harry Kane. Would you, if you had the choice to sign one or the other for United, who would you want? And now, today,
Harry Kane.
You still take him, even though Son's younger, fitter.
Yeah, we don't need enough. What we need a Son for? We've got millions of Sons. We've got Sancho. We've got Rashford. We've got Martial.
Yeah, I suppose.
Where are we going to play him?
Yeah.
Where Kane bumped straight in.
Number 9, dropping Ronaldo.
Well, you could play. You could play them both. You got to have a decent coach.
Yeah, well, that's we'll get there, mate. They so. The other question, which I put
if Harry Kane come to United, they wouldn't have signed with Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm pretty sure of that. Well, if they would have, they've been creating more problems. It's just creating more problems that really.
I'm going to come back to Craig's comment on United a minute. One of the other questions I asked to our English contingent was the rumours of Gareth Southgate getting a new extension to his contract, because I heard Leslie said in the chat that he doesn't think England are very good. He thinks they're kind of the perennial overachievers and stuff like that. Like, does Gareth Southgate deserve an extension, mate, do you think?
Yes, yeah. He got to the final of the Euros and he's blooding all these young players. He's got a wealth of talent coming through. He's got people like Rashford and Mason Greenwood who are not even in this squad. And so
I was just looking at their starting lineup. Saka, Bellingham, Smith Rowe, Alexander-Arnold, Cody,
and all these young players. Bellingham would be a Premier League great because he can do it all. He can defence, attack, can play football. He's big, he's strong, he's athletic. He can do everything. So it's just a matter of time before it's just who gets him. Pretty sure we should have got him before he went to Dortmund, but we lost out for whatever reason. But yeah, he's a top-notch player. Then you've got him, you've got Foden, you've got Smith Rowe that's coming on, Saka, and then Grealish can't even get in the team. So, you've got a wealth of riches. It's just defensively, it looks like he's going with a 3 to shore it up because he's not comfortable with a 2. But that frees up Alexander or James or on the other side, if it's Chilwell or Shaw if he's fit. So they've got loads of options, and that's what you want as a coach. It's just picking the right team. But no, he deserves a contract. But he's under pressure now to get to the final again or to win it now because.
He's improved, haven't he? With each tournament, he got to the semis, then he got to the final. So he has got to go, I think, and get to the final at least now. But I think
it's helped that he was in the under-21s as well.
Yeah,
because
he's worked
seen
with
all these young players,
footballers, isn't he?
Yeah, it's the same thing with like Robert Page as well. You see all these young players, you kind of know him. So when you know him, you kind of trust him to go, no, I've seen this guy. I know what you can do. And then. Young players, we've seen it over and over again. You give them the opportunity, and most not that they take it if they're coached and given the right opportunities.
Spot on, mate. I got to say, I think playing 3 at the back is probably the way forward for England. I'm not sure if they need to play 3 at the back versus San Marino. That was a little bit of a shock, but I mean. The other thing is, for me,
when they're playing 3 at the back, mate, against San Marino,
they got Saka at left back.
Yeah, but one of them centre halves becomes a midfielder. He will come out with the ball. He will be the one that comes out the ball. So you just add another midfielder because they're not going to be troubled with San Marino. So Stones is good on the ball. Maguire's not bad on the ball. You'll see them coming out with it and just joining in the midfield and joining in the attack.
The only thing I think I've been thinking recently with the England squad is if it was me, I would want to get Bellingham and Greenwood playing international after international after international, because I think we discussed before, but I think Greenwood's going to end up being England's all-time top goal scorer. And I just think, to me, those two and Foden, those three, I'd be trying to play them as much as possible together, starting for England. And against teams like San Marino, Albania, things like that, that's when they can really hone their craft and their teamwork and working together as a group.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen because, the captain is Harry Kane, and Mason Greenwood is probably going to have to wait another year before becoming Manchester United centre forward because of Ronaldo. And so, you're not going to see him playing centre forward, which will be his position. So,
but he still should be playing for England, shouldn't he?
He should be in the squad, 100%. But they've obviously had the chat, whatever that is.
So I'll put this to you and the people in the chat, because maybe other people have seen, or you've seen more of Smith Rowe than me. On form this season, would you have Smith Rowe over Greenwood or Greenwood over Smith Rowe if you try and take your United?
I wouldn't take any player over Mason Greenwood. I'd possibly debate Foden, but that'd be it. No, Mason Greenwood is a stud and will be a stud and will be, a top goal scorer for Man United. I have no doubt about that.
So one of the other things I wanted to discuss this evening was Gareth Bale. Is he the greatest Welsh player of all time? And I kind of saved it till you were coming on. Chinese Yoda says Gareth Bale, as his career, everything he's achieved, he's got absolutely nothing to prove. Leslie said earlier he doesn't really rate Bale. To me, I think if you're a Spurs fan or you're a Wales fan, you've seen the absolute peak of Gareth Bale. You've seen his dedication. You've seen how good he is. And I think if you're a Madrid fan, he had a couple of unbelievable seasons, but he has also been riddled with injuries with Madrid, and he's missed games, and they've had a bit of a falling out. He had a couple of seasons where he basically won in the Champions League on his own. But look, from a Welsh point of view, Gareth Bale, to me, there's no one who comes close to him. 100 caps, got us largely to the Euro 2016. Just a world-class player, and I think if he had been able to stay injury-free, he would be regarded up there with the likes of Ronaldo and Messi and the other world's elite players. I think he's just under that because probably mainly down to injury and the amount of games he's missed over probably the last 5 years. But where does he stand to you as a Welshman in terms of the greatest Welsh player of all time?
For Wales, there's like you said, there's no debate. Outside of Wales, and that's a debate. But for Wales, there's no one comes close. He's got him to the Euros, the amount of goals he's got, his appearances. There's no one comes close.
It's interesting. I think it was Gavin said earlier when I said about Bale being the GOAT, he said, Aaron Ramsey's a legend too, which I agree. He's a absolute Welsh legend. And I think I said to you a couple of weeks ago, if Aaron Ramsey had stayed injury-free, he'd be considered one of the best midfielders in Europe. But he's just had so many niggly injuries after that leg break when Shawcross broke his leg. He's never quite been able to get a run of seasons together since then. But if you ask me, for the Belgium game, you can't have Bale or Ramsey play, and I know Bale's missing it, but if you can't have Bale or Ramsey play in that game, which one would you prefer to go without? I'd probably go without Bale now, because Ramsey makes such a difference to the all-round team. Wales seems so disjointed a lot of the time that Ramsey doesn't play. But the two of them, Welsh stalwarts, mate. They've been a part of what was started by Gary Speed, carried on by Chris Coleman and Ryan, Robert Page. These guys changed what it is to be a Welsh international footballer. Year after year, back in the day, we used to fail and get beaten by teams you think you should beat. We'd fail at the last hurdle if we did finally get close. It was just a life of disappointment. I never thought I was going to witness Wales at a major tournament. I didn't think it was going to happen. I'd given up on it. So to experience the Euros,
them players seem to play the game to play for Wales.
Yes,
and
they care.
And other players have not had that mindset. So and that shows. So yeah, and that's why they'll be regarded as legends for Wales football.
It's interesting, isn't it, though? So, like, you look at the footballers that Wales have had since Euro 2016 to present day, and because I include some of the, they got some incredible youngsters like Nico and Ampadu and people like this coming up now. If you would add a couple of the players from previous generations to the players like Bale and Ramsey and Joe Allen and all these, your likes of Craig Bellamy, Ryan, Ian Rush, Mark Hughes, Dean Saunders, like the really good strikers we've had and forward players we've had over those years, if you could put them into the present day teams, it would take them on another level. But we never quite had a team of Premier League players back in the day, did we?
No, it was always, a back four that was poor.
League
One side, or like an Eric Young.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was always a struggle, and they just didn't have the quality. Just the all
Vinnie Jones
was
Wales captain, wasn't he? So
pardon?
Vinnie Jones was Wales captain.
Yeah,
kind of tells you everything.
Absolutely pathetic. So it was. It was. Well, that was the golden era. That was just pathetic, wasn't it? And to put him as Welsh captain, it's just. If there was a dictionary of a picture of an Englishman, it'd be Vinnie Jones like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's no way. It's just pathetic.
It's embarrassing, mate. That is. That he was captain and like.
Yeah, it's a joke. But at the Arms Park as well, the old Arms Park. I remember going. I think probably at that game. It was. Yeah, and then the young players that have been blooded and they all play at decent size now. Ampadu, he's had a good year in the Premier League, and he's been out in a different country, which would be good for him, which is great experience. You've got Daniel James, who's played at United, now he's at Leeds. You've got a centre half who plays for Tottenham. This one was unheard of. He playing at these top sides. So
yeah, I hope
Nico Williams at Liverpool.
I hope he leaves Liverpool, mate. I gotta be honest. I hope he goes. I wouldn't mind seeing him go abroad, like to the Bundesliga for a season on loan.
Nico Williams needs to go somewhere like a Burnley, where you're going to play every year, every week, and just get better. And then
what about Newcastle?
Because Liverpool's a stretch at the minute. Alexander is one of the top right backs in the world. So
yeah,
it's just unfortunate. What do you do? Do you sit behind him, or do you think no, I need to go out and?
Yeah, it's difficult, because I'm sure he wants to learn from Klopp. He wants to play under what is considered one of the best managers around. But then
but he's at that age now and at that quality.
He's got to play, haven't he?
He's holding back.
What about Newcastle? Would that be a good fit for Nico Williams?
Yeah.
Or Villa under Gerrard?
Yeah. All them places would be really good for him.
I look at like Ampadu's improvement.
Who they got right back? Was it a Target or is it Cash?
Villa.
Yeah.
I'd have to look. Villa fullbacks. But I look at the improvements of Ethan Ampadu and from going to the Bundesliga, and I think he has improved as a footballer massively.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I just think that when I think of what the improvement could be if you sent Nico Williams out there on loan, because he's not going to play for Liverpool. So Aston Villa's fullbacks, you got Matt Targett, Ashley Young, Matty Cash, and that's it on their official list.
Yeah.
And I would say Nico Williams gets in front of most of them, if not all.
He wants to be going. He don't want to be going to a different club and not playing. So.
Well, the thing is, Tyrone Mings, mate, is playing for England tonight. So, like, Nico Williams, for instance, could go to Villa, play alongside Tunzebi, Tyrone Mings, Target, and then Nico Williams as the other fullback. That's a nice, good, young defence and a manager, a Premier League legend, someone who's going to be greatly respected. Like, I think that's I know we're kind of like like guessing and stuff like that. But I think that when you look at it, it's a good move, isn't it?
Yeah. Kane's just got a second.
Of course he has. He's going to score about 5 tonight. Look at that. Cage Warriors champion of the world, Jordan Vucinic, says the guy on the left is an animal. You're right there, mate. Just not sure what type of animal I am. But hope you're all right, George. Champ. Wales have had some decent defenders, though, mate, over the years. Like you had your Gabardons, your James Collins, Kevin Ratcliffe's. But they would never seemed to be able to play
that's
together.
Just one. You need
that's what I was going to say. We always had
a good keeper as well. You know, Southall was brilliant.
Paul Jones did good.
Yeah, what was the other one? Played for Southampton.
Just your Jones, and Jones. There was another one.
We all had decent keepers. It's just midfield but then obviously in the last 5 years it's turned around.
Yeah, I just think over the years Wales we'd have 1 or 2, 3 quality players, and then the rest would be a mix of average and League One, and now we've got that depth. And you know, if you speak to some of the guys within the coaching sort of things around Wales, the influx, there's a big influx of young footballers now coming up in the sort of the 17s, 18s, 19s. You've only got to look at the Cardiff squad where they've got 3 or 4 academy players broken into the first team this year. Hopefully, you know, they can go on and develop further. And then you've got another wave of young footballers coming in. And, you know, Guy Speed deserves so much credit for that because he literally started it all. And it's just obviously incredibly sad that he wasn't able to see it through and see the tremendous work that he's begun. Going back to United, mate. Someone asked, I know it wasn't a United question, I apologise. It was a Wales question, or there was 2. So the Wales question is, Rob Boyle, I think it was, said, would you take a peak Gareth Bale or a peak Ryan Giggs? Both injury-free. That's a hard question, that is. Proper hard question.
Yeah, difficult on that. Difficult question, that.
Ryan can play centre midfield as well, can
he? Yeah, but peak, you know.
I know how many playing, but like, it's hard, isn't it? Because like on their day,
you know, peak's different. Peak, I sometimes think, you know, when he was a better player at 34, 35, when he's in the middle of the park, because he could control the game. His assists were more regular. Where when he was young, he was more raw and
just took people apart though for years.
And his crossing wasn't as accurate. So where Gareth Bale's always just been, you know, a left back, and then obviously a midfielder, and now kind of a centre forward. So yeah, it's difficult on that.
Gonna have to come back to that one. Stumped him for the first time.
I would always take Ryan because I've seen so much. I'm not seeing as much as
of course
Gareth Bale. Yeah, as a player. Yeah.
And the funny thing is, and this is why I always assumed that Gareth Bale would leave Spurs and go to United, because I felt like it was the natural transition for him to be like the successor to Ryan. It made sense to me. They were both Welsh. They both played on the left. They were both similar players. They both from Cardiff. They both wore the number 11 shirt. It was like it was made that he would be the natural replacement. And the move, obviously, he went to Madrid and stuff like that. But
well, obviously, Ryan would have been asked about.
He was coming towards the end, wouldn't he? Ryan, but he wasn't quite finished.
He would have been asked about him, and I'm pretty sure he would have just told him the truth. And you know, can he be reliable injury wise? And the answer would be no. So it's probably not worth the gamble.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And you know his kind of mentality where he's laid back. That's his goal.
Do you think that's one thing that maybe Gareth? And I'm asking a question. I'm not stating it as a fact. has Gareth Bale got a winning mentality like the likes of Ryan and Roy Keane and people like that?
No.
But then he has won trophies and leagues and Champions Leagues, and he's won all the trophies you can win.
You could have. That overhead kick was really special. But mate, did you see that Real Madrid team when he won that Champions League?
But then he won the Champions League for them that one year. Remember the one where he runs
you say for him,
off the pitch, and back on.
See the team he had.
Yeah, I guess. But he scored 2 goals, didn't he, in extra time? And do you know the one I mean, where he like runs off the pitch and then
a winning mentality is doing everything possible to put. For me, it goes. It's a whole mentality of why am the keeper getting injured all the time? I need to fix this so I'm stopping it, and that's not happened. It's not a coincidence. These players always keep getting niggles. Ramsey, Jack Wilshere. There's always certain players that keep getting injured. Why? I remember we keep getting hamstring injuries for about a year and a half, and the guy totally changed his running action, and it slowed him down a bit, but he didn't get another hamstring injury for years. So you can find solutions, and that's because he wanted to win and he wanted to be in a team that was full of winners. So, it's a mindset that he's a winner, but not in the same mentality. It's
interesting. It's had some really interesting comments in response to that, saying that Bale hasn't got the same winning mentality, and that's what it's all about, is opinions and debate. So Donna says Bale hasn't won as much as Ryan, but then Bale played in a major tournament for Wales and Ryan wasn't able to.
We've addressed that though. And I think some players were committed to Wales and some players weren't. Some players had better players around them, and some players didn't. It's a load of mixture of things. But ultimately, when he was at Wales, the team were crap, and that's what he was put pressure on, and he wasn't a strong enough character to say no, I'm going playing for Wales, and he stayed at United, and that suffered, and Wales suffered. Yeah. So, but I know, I grew up with him, so I know what kind of.
What was the dedication like from him? Like even as a kid, like in terms of his dedication to his craft and to be the best.
Well, with anything, Monopoly, cards, you just want to win. It's how we grew up. It's if we didn't win, there was probably something flying at someone's head. So that was kind of the we just wanted to win. So
competitive
in everything. It was cricket, football, like say Monopoly, cards, whatever. But I don't see that in Gareth Bale. Like I say, he's a bit more relaxed, a bit more. Doesn't mean he still doesn't want to win, but I think these. We mentioned Roy Keane and Rant. I think they have a bit more spite. It's a bit more. It's different characters. It doesn't mean they're not winners.
Absolutely,
different mentality.
And that's why I kind of asked the question, because I think they get compared so much.
But that's why I said. That's why I said in a Wales shirt, there's no comparison. But for me, outside of Wales, there's no comparison. 35, 30 odd. Medals. It's not even comparison, because he was injured a lot. He wasn't in good teams, and then when he went to Real Madrid, when you're in a good team, it's same with Ryan. He was lucky because look at the team that he was in. When will that ever happen again? That 5 players come through the ranks and play for the country and be as good as Nicky Butt, Paul Scholes, Beckham, Gary Neville. The list goes on.
And they got to play with Cantona, Mark Hughes,
and there's a cast list, and then they're playing with Roy Keane, Ronaldo, Rio Ferdinand, Jaap Stam, Peter Schmeichel. These are top players. So. But you still have to perform, because the quality behind you. If you're not performing, then someone comes in. So, but it's just different. Like I say, it's different mentalities. Mindset. One wanted to play for Wales, one wanted to play football to play for Wales, and one wanted to play for Man United. It's totally different.
Yeah, I can see that 100%. So does that mean, going back to the question, when we said with the original question was, would you take peak Bale or peak Ronaldo, peak Bale or peak Ryan Giggs? Does that mean you would take peak Ryan Giggs for Man United, peak Gareth Bale for Wales?
Correct. Yeah.
There we go.
Because I know I'm going to get 35 games and I'm probably going to get a Premier League medal at the end of it. With every Premier League, so you probably get 15, 20, 25 games to a push at Gareth Bale every season.
Whereas for Wales, that Bale's going to turn up to every game.
Yeah, Gareth Bale's for Wales is unbelievable. He's still unbelievable for Real Madrid. And other times he's been, but on a consistent basis, yeah.
So just to sort of to start towards finishing us off, Scotland have taken the lead against Denmark, which is massive. So just before you come on, I was discussing Scotland. They've qualified for the playoffs for the World Cup, but if they beat Denmark, they go into the seedings, which means that then they will get a home draw at Hampden Park in the semi-final, which is massive. When you look at some of the teams that are in there, the Portugal, Wales, Finland, there's some tough games in there. So I think for a Scottish team,
which has that Hampden Park, that
it makes it
Hampden Park will be lively, very, very lively.
I think
you just don't want to play someone like Portugal or you don't want to be playing someone like that.
No, that's what I said. I said from a Welsh point of view, I'd want to avoid Portugal would be the one team I just do not want to play.
We don't want to go there either.
I don't want to go to Hampden Park. I don't want to play Poland either. And then you got the likes of Russia, Switzerland, Sweden, North Macedonia, Turkey, and Finland.
Listen, whoever you play, it's going to be tough. You got all your best players. I don't care. We'll take anyone on, but you don't want Portugal. Anyone else, when you've got Ronaldo and the quality they've got, it's different levels. Everyone else is on a level playing field. Whoever plays better on the day, or whoever's got the best team available, i.e. injuries or suspensions or whatever. Yeah, because Wales have got a few on a yellow card, so they've got to get through the Belgium game unscathed and not be suspended for the playoffs.
I think
to get there.
The thing for Wales and Scotland, mate, is first probably 14 players, you're confident in them. After that, that's when you start to get a bit ropey with depth and things like that. And you don't want to go and play Poland away with Ramsey or Bale out or a few players out, because that's when you do struggle.
Well, this is what I mean about
that's the same for Scotland, isn't it?
Well, this is what I mean about these players now. I'm pretty sure these players now, this is a big for them. They play for Wales. So these players won't get injured. They'll look after themselves. They'll put Wales first and they'll be box clever. I'll be very, very surprised. I know Gareth Bale's picked up a little niggle, but I'll be very, very surprised if any of them are injured for that playoff game.
Yeah, 100%. And Don has just mentioned Ryan's goal against Arsenal in the FA Cup. To me, that epitomises the mentality of Ryan Giggs as a footballer, because what was it, 117th minute or something stupid like that?
Yeah, but that goal was a great goal, but that season he was bad. It was probably one of his.
But does that not make the goal better? He was not having a good season.
Probably because he'd been out for a bit as well. So he'd been out with hamstring problems that I talked to you about before. So he'd been out for a bit. That's why he was on the bench. And he's just come on. And I was at that game. It was crazy. So it's the best game I've ever been to. It just literally had everything. Sending offs, penalty misses. Oh yeah, it was just unbelievable. And then I think I've talked about it before. I'm actually on the treble video jumping on him with my Stone Island gear on, stiffed arm the steward straight on. Yeah, it was no little sidestep, boom, straight on.
Left the steward on the floor.
But but there was better goals for me than that. Juventus, when Diego Forlan got injured and he come on and took the whole Juventus side and put it past Buffon, and then went off after 30 minutes just because they were 2-0 up and he'd done a job because he was having hamstrings problems again. So Yeah, there was loads of goals like that. He scored a Tottenham goal where he's nutmegged Gary Mabbott from 5 yards and then gone on the keeper. There's loads, absolute loads. And the same with Gareth Bale, but I've seen a lot more of one than the other.
Of course, yeah. Gareth Bale scored some massive goals for Wales, and they haven't necessarily always been like world class, top corner. Sometimes they've just been scrappy headers, tap-ins. But you know what they always seem to be? They always seem to be vital, important goals. Like a bit like Ronaldo for United this year. For over the years, they just big players turning up.
Yeah, if you ask me which player I would have in a cup final, it would be Gareth Bale, no problem, because Ryan wasn't really a big match player on the big games.
He was consistent.
History tells you that. It was more of a season. When he used to play early on at Wembley, it was early on in the days when he didn't have sprinklers. It was a dry pitch, and it didn't work out for him because he liked running with a pitch, so it'd stick and get under his feet. So he never really played well in cup finals. If you go back and watch them on, he might have done okay, but didn't pull any trees up. Yes, they won, but because he's done a job, but he didn't particularly play very well in any of them. So yeah, and Gareth Bale, in finals he scored, cup finals. The amount of finals Ryan's been in, he's never scored one in a cup final. So he's never scored a hat trick. So I'm pretty sure Gareth Bale has, and so in a cup final, but opinions in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I did not realise that Ryan had never scored at a cup final.
No, and he's been in.
Must have been in a fair few. God.
Yeah. Well, I might be wrong. He might have scored in one, but I don't think he has. I don't know.
Nothing springs to mind. Here's a question for you very quickly. Someone just asked: would you, if Wales get home draw in the semi-final of the World Cup playoffs, would you move it to the Millennium Stadium, or would you keep it at the Cardiff City Stadium, where the ground's a bit smaller and more intense?
It's just a silly question, and it's
Well, I know I would do. I would keep it at the Cardiff City Stadium because you want it to be as hostile as possible. But I know also that the Welsh FA have got a tendency to chase the money.
To differ. I've been to these Six Nation games, and when the roof's shut and it's rocking in there.
But you've got I think the risk with the football in Wales for some reason is sometimes the crowds don't always turn up, and if you've got a half empty. Yeah, well, you'd think so, but I just don't trust the Welsh public.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, I agree. Like a full Millennium Stadium, there's nothing like it.
You got to imagine the build-up of obviously the stuff of the third round, and then winning the quarterfinals. Everyone would be invested by then, the semi-finals. So, and it was on your doorstep, and
first World Cup.
Everyone's trying to get a ticket. Yeah. Why don't we double it? No, it's absolute.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the more I think about it, I think.
I know it's not going to be played. It's not going to be played at Swansea.
Yeah, it's not going to be played at the Vetch,
No.
They're at the Council Stadium now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I just had a quick Google to see if what Ryan Giggs has ever scored in a cup final.
I know he hasn't.
And I can't see anything.
I know he hasn't.
No, I know. I was completely sort of, I believe you because you would know. And then you said, "Oh, I don't think he has," as if you sort of second guessed yourself. So, so he believes there's an article saying that he thought he had scored against Chelsea in 2017 in the cup final, but it was ruled off by goal line technology. So I would assume that means that he didn't. Wow.
Should have scored the Champions League final in the last couple of minutes, but John Terry cleared it off the line, but then he scored the winning penalty. So.
Spot on, mate. Hey, listen, Rod, it's been good, mate, having you on a Monday. I appreciate that. It's been a good chat, and I've enjoyed just talking about Gareth Bale in particular.
Yeah, I've got my Shoot the Defence podcast now at 9:00.
Indeed. Guys, check out Shoot the Defence podcast now, and make sure you subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. Is it live, mate, or has it come out later in the week?
Yeah. Live at 9:00.
There you go. Check it out, guys, and get it in. But I nearly forgot, but I've got to do this, mate. And don't forget that support for A.C.E Podcast Nation brought to you by manscaped.com. As you can see here, the Lawnmower 4.0. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on the intelligent functionality and incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce the grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. And I very, very much feel much more confident shaving my boys with this. Do not snag the bag. The upgraded trimmer includes multifunction on and off switch that engages with a travel lock. It also gives you the ability to turn on the 4,000 kilowatt LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim through the additional guard lengths with sizes 1 to 4. Absolute top quality bit of kit. Why did I mention as well, mate? Wireless charging with a stand uses electromagnetic induction, which help the battery length last even longer. And if you've been shaming with the same trimmer on your face, you've been doing it all wrong. No person wants to use the same trimmer for their face and their bits. It's time to get your own body hair and ball trimmer with Manscaped. Ooh, I just turned it on as well. There we go. I'm not going to give a demonstration though. And like I say, have some me time before Christmas for your loved ones. Also, perfectly good for female and males. You can shave legs, shave your body parts, shave anywhere, shave everything. Just don't. No shaving of pets allowed. 20% off and free worldwide shipping. And you can use the code GIGS for 20% off. Free shipping worldwide. Your balls will thank you. Thank you to manscaped.com as ever. Really appreciate it. And like I said before, guys, check out Manscaped. There's so much. They have got so much stuff there. It's not just like body hair trimmers. They do clothing. They've got a brand new aftershave. They've got shower gels, all this sort of stuff.
Nose trimmers.
Nose trimmer, mate. The nose trimmer is it's top quality, mate. I've already ordered some of that. But the nose and ear hair trimmer. But they've got the anti-chafe boxer shorts. I was well impressed with the boxers. I got to say, really, really loved them. They're super comfy. And look, it's Christmas. You've got to treat yourself. If you're going to look after any part of your body, look after it properly. Manscaped is looking after you. That's what you've got to do. And look, as I said, I wouldn't want to sell you guys and sort of try and promote any old crap. I'm going to promote proper top quality gear, and that's what this is. And we thank them, and I thank you. Support us by supporting our brand partners. And me and Rhodri will be back on Friday, but don't forget Wednesday. It's not going to be live though, mate. It's recorded.
Okay, yeah.
So, but me and Rhodri are recording a show in the studio on Wednesday. So if you've got any subjects which are kind of not the latest news, stuff like that, send them in. I think it was Craig sent one in earlier. So we've got a couple there. But if there's anything which you could think of, send them over to Rhodri on social media or send them to me. Send them to the podcast page and we'll get it done. Add it to the list. Really looking forward to getting in a studio and getting ourselves mic'd up for this project. Gonna be fun. But until then, we'll bid you farewell. Join us Friday, 7:30 for Rhodri Gigs on Football. Nice one, mate. Appreciate it as always. And it's going to be good. See you later.